Hi, this is a Friday afternoon, August 29th update on the search results for digital marketing on the Google US search engine. We'll be covering the effects of duplicate content. As always, the thoughts in this video are just mine, and in making decisions, consult an SEO professional or your trusted SEO team for the best information for your situation. Okay, we're going to take a look at a search engine model for digital marketing. If you're new to these search engine models, this search engine modeling technology allows users to define, create, and deploy statistical replicas of any search engine environment. It does this by starting with a generic search engine model, complete with all the modern families of algorithms, representing everything from on-page to off-page ranking factors. Each part of these search engine models' biases and weights are then finely tuned by an artificial intelligence process called particle swarm optimization. And at the conclusion of this AI process, the generic search engine model has been transformed into a very useful and highly calibrated replica of the real thing. If you haven't checked out MarketBrew, please take a look. I helped co-found the company back in 2006, and this search engine modeling technology is, I think, more relevant than ever before. The search engine model is currently auto self-calibrated to the target search engine environment Google US, and the following sites are represented in this model: blog.hubspot.com, www.digitalmarketer.com, and en.wikipedia.org. They're currently 1, 2, 3 in the model and 1, 2, 4 on the target search engine environment, respectively. You can see the current model rankings here on Saturday, August 8th, and the previous model rankings just under a week before that on August 3rd. And as you would expect, there isn't much change between these three sites over the course of that week. You can see that digitalmarketer.com has creeped up on the #1 spot here, and we can explore below why that is. One of the things that the search engine model attempts to do is fill in the bias and weight settings, sort of like placeholders in its generic model. So when it uses this particle swarm optimization to self-calibrate itself to that target search engine, it's filling in these bias and weight settings, and every time it recalibrates itself, it will store those settings for the user to look at. One of the things that you can see here is that a couple boost factors have changed. Most notably, you can see that the market focus factor has increased by 16%, and the URL path factor has decreased by around 30%. What this means is that any landing page that was doing very well with a market focus part of the search engine model has now been biased upwards, and vice versa, the URL path boost factor has decreased by 30%. So any landing pages that were excelling in this part of the search engine model are now biased downwards. And you can see this down here by looking at the reasons why the digitalmarketer.com site has increased on the #1 ranking position. It has a market focus score increase of 243. And so you can clearly see that they were doing very well in this part of the model. And because Google's RankBrain, or whatever you want to call it, has biased its search engine results towards using a little bit more of this part of the algorithm in the search engine model, digitalmarketer.com is now biased upwards. Okay, with that out of the way, I want to talk about the effect of duplicate content. It's not always very straightforward to see in the model because content and link structure are all tied together. So a lot of link algorithms depend on content, and a lot of content algorithms depend on link structure. And here you can see this clearly with the focus chart here. So what's happening here, the MarketBrew model is identifying the statistical gaps between each part of the search engine model between digitalmarketer.com's landing page and the outperformer in the model. And while it says 55%, or the majority of the focus should be on the link flow focus, which is typically the link architecture, in this case, it actually refers to some of the inefficiencies that link flow has in the site. And that actually has to do with a couple of families of algorithms, one specifically the duplicate content. And while you can see that the majority of the focus here is on link flow and that part of the search engine model, as we will see below, the link flow part of the model looks at both the link flow distribution and the sort of a modern version of a PageRank calculation, but it also looks at the efficiency of that link flow as it arrives to individual landing pages. We can see this down here on the scorecard summary. The landing page for digitalmarketer.com actually has a large amount of link flow going to that page. However, due to the modeled algorithms on this search engine model, you can see that a large percentage of that is being taken away. It's the net total link flow that is actually included in the final scoring or ranking of an individual search engine result page. So if we go in the back end of this model, you can see these three sites that are in the model. And if we hover over the query score, you'll see down there at the bottom, it says net total link flow boost. Notice that you're not going to see gross total link flow boost, but net total link flow boost. So what we're seeing here is not actually the link architecture that's the primary cause of this problem. It's actually a couple of modeled algorithms that actually contribute to the reduction of the already available gross total link flow to that page. In this case right here, you can see that a huge portion of this penalty factor is the matched duplicate content modeled algorithm. And if we click on this, you'll actually be able to see which pages in the site are correlated too highly with this individual page. You can see one of them is correlated extremely high at 73%, and the rest are at 57 and below. Now, on average, about 35 to 42% is what we've found is an average correlation for two pairs of pages in one subdomain. And this is because a header and footer, common components that are shared between those pages, that's okay. But as we get into 60, 70, 80%, the search engine model will start to place a penalty on that gross total link flow. Now, if we want to obviously look at what's happening here, we can click on this percentage and we'll see a highlighted set of words that are on both of these pairs of pages. And you can see clearly there's just not a lot of uniqueness between these pages. Almost everything is overlapping here throughout the entire page. So you can really look at it two ways here. One is you could get more backlinks to this page and increase the gross total link flow. Your penalty factor will stay the same. You'll still be negating about half of the link structure coming into the site. Or you could focus on this duplicate content and increase the link flow efficiency from 58% up to 100%. Doing so, you would recover about half of the available gross total link flow on this page. It's the equivalent of about doubling the amount of ranking power or doubling the amount of backlinks going to this page. Well, that's it for this week's peek into the search engine result pages for digital marketing. I hope you're looking at duplicate content a little bit differently now. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week.